preparing. It's not preparing. That's a fib. We're live.
Hello.
Hello. Hello. And wait for the alerts to come in. It's one of these awkward moments where the alerts come in. People can't join us immediately because like 0 watching right now because they won't. Then the alerts come in on the phone, on the computer. We're here and we're 20 seconds delayed, of course.
Oh, it's just seamless, isn't it?
Yeah, it is seamless. So all this small talk, 1 watching, 4 watching, in they come. Rachel Bentley, of course. Gently Bentley has joined. Beverly Gow, funnily enough, just said hello to Bev. Jane Cuscan, hi, with a wavy emoji. And as people start to come in, because you don't want to start diving into the conversation straight away because half the people miss it because it takes a little while for them to get the come through.
Join the fun.
So just twiddle the thumbs for the meanwhile. How you doing? All right, yeah, la-di-da. Look at my face, I'm all shaded. Is it better? Is it better to be shading my face or is it better to be
silhouette?
Silhouetting. It is, it's the half and half.
Now you sit back a bit, yeah, you can better light, definitely.
Yeah, it's like that. Just sit like that. There you go. So I sit like that to one side of my face. That way you can't see. It's like Two-Face out of Batman. Sorry, right. Stop buggering around, Danny. Get on with it. Thank you for joining me, Kerri. How are you?
Yeah, hot. Really hot.
Yes.
I've been in the garden this morning for a little bit, having a very lazy morning, and it is scorchio.
It is. Yeah, it's a warm old day. Going to get slightly cooler throughout the week, but it's going to stay at these temperatures for the next couple of days.
Oh no, I love it. I haven't got any complaints. I'd much rather be like this than be grey, miserable, rainy, and I think it just gives you such a lift from the sun in the sky.
Especially at these times regarding mood. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. Hello to Karen Spatman, Callum Burrell, Ewan Neal, Michelle Williams, Stuart Harding, Emma Shaw. Hello, Emma Shaw. She says, hello, Kerri, enjoy. No, Emma, you're meant to be typing Perry Hall out repeatedly in capital letters. Get on that. Thank you very much. Stacey Marston, hello, keep forgetting you're here instead of Facebook. Yep, come on over, subscribe to us. Subscribers are going up. Martin Kaplan. Brilliant. Right then, I will come back to the comments in a little while. Hello to everyone, and let's start talking to Kerri. Yeah, with me now. Oh, look, I've got my Dolly Tiana. You've got your Dolly buff, my Dolly buff. So you're with me now, neck tube buff thing. Thank you very much for representing.
Repping the merch.
Represent. Thank you for joining me. It is hot. This is like a sauna. The towers are like a sauna. I've got the window open. We were just talking before we came on. Our pets as well, because of course, Fudge, puppy Fudge. Is he still with you in your feet, between your legs?
He was milling around my feet. He's now found a cool spot in the hallway, which he often sits at. It is the coolest spot in the house, so I don't blame him now.
Yeah. Or Dolly was basically sitting next to me and touching. I need to touch you, Daddy. I need to touch you. And it's like, okay, fine. I'm going to close the door. She says, now it's too hot. So she's gone.
Having a toddler, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, just attention seeking all the time. So Kerri French, athlete ID number. Let's see if we. Actually, I should ask people this. See if people know their numbers. Do you know it off by heart?
Of course, I know it.
199408. Absolutely spot on. Is Dean Alloway, boyfriend Dean, current boyfriend Dean? Is he? Was like the current boyfriend Nigel for Bev. His current boyfriend Dean, is he in the vicinity right now?
He is.
Can he hear me? Can he hear me?
Yeah, he can. Come here. Come here. I'll grab him.
Come on, Dean. Well, I need to adjust a couple of things before we get into Kerri stuff as the super ambassador.
I don't know.
Let's get you out of the way because you pay zero attention to the podcast usually, but now that Kerri's getting all the attention from it and being online, you want to be a part of it. You want to have a slice of the attention. So I thought I'd appease you a little bit. What's your athlete ID number, Dean?
Oh, he doesn't know.
829-821-975.
I'm not convinced by that. You should know this off by heart. Kerri, you've got homework to do, Dean. Okay. Oh, goodness. How many parkruns you done, Dean?
271.
I don't think anybody outside the 250 club is allowed to not know their athlete ID. That should be made to put into parkrun law.
How far was I out?
I've no idea. You should know. I just wanted you to know. You should be able, you could have lied.
It's a 5-digiter. It's a low. Yeah, get your barcode out.
You could have lied to me and said, yep, this number, and I would have been convinced. I wouldn't have known otherwise. But you were too honest and you basically said, I don't know.
Original,
point it at the camera. There
original one there.
Yeah,
821617.
That's the reserve barcode
reserve.
Wear his wristband. So that's the tatty one that's shoved in the wallet. You know, when
been through the washing machine. That
you get up at like 10 to 9 and you got a bit of parkrun and you kind of just grab your wallet and go. That's it.
Yeah. I have spares of my fellow tourists as well. Have you done that? Because of course, in case something goes wrong, it's always have multiples. I have spares of my fellow people's in my wallet in case.
You're too good. You're too kind. I'd let them go as a unknown athlete.
Yeah. Yeah, their responsibility. They can sort it out.
Absolutely. Stop mothering people.
Shall
Absolutely.
I go
No. Stay there, mister. Right. So I've got a bone to pick with you. So in the parkrun show, so Kerri, you filled in and helped out. You presented the parkrun show.
Yeah, when Nicola was on maternity leave, I did about 6 or 7 episodes.
Yeah.
When you had holiday, me and Nicola did one, and me and Helen. And Dennis filled in when you both had a break. So you convinced me that to help out so you guys could have a break, and I really enjoyed it. I listened back occasionally. I think I have listened to the old ones and I just cringe, as you do, and I think but they were good fun. I love taking part and doing it. So I haven't been asked to step in for With Me Now yet.
not yet. Do not rule it out.
Lots of people out there that can all have a go and join in. So I'm glad I had that opportunity, and it was good fun.
Do not rule it out. So of course, a part of my decision making is in making sure that people have the time to do that and recognise that they're not too busy. So of course, you having work-wise, I know you're very busy, as well as having Ruby and Leo, and then basically, I guess the biggest time
at the moment.
At the moment, having to deal with so many different things. I think the biggest drain on your time is probably Dean, and having to look after him. So that's why it's been a bit reluctant having to look after.
My life is quite mad with 2 teenagers, a boyfriend, a dog, volunteering, and all the stuff.
The dog's all right.
Yeah, the dog's the easy one. Yeah.
Working teenage kids.
Well, at the moment I'm furloughed, so life's gone really simple. Back to having lots of time on my hands and. Lots of cooking and doing stuff for the kids, trying to get them to get out of bed before midday. And now, talking to children, that they are both upstairs. I know they're awake. So if they do pop in, then who knows what's going to happen? It's live.
Madness.
Yeah.
So part of the reason I never want to overbear people regarding stuff. It's like Melissa Erbacher. I mean, she came on early days and hasn't come back, and because I recognise that her family life was really built up on top of everything. So I do try and find people that have the devoted time. And as you say, you're now on furlough. So how are you coping with furlough? Obviously, you've got a lot more time, but regarding the feeling,
it's quite tough actually, because you think the industry I work in is getting people running, walking, and cycling, and at the moment we were really restricted on that. So we're really, really busy at work, adjusting to that change. And of course, a lot of the contracts we've had coming up are kind of suspended until we come out of this lockdown fully. So I do worry, and I think some of the contracts we have, I really hope that they're seen through, and the government really put their money in their mouth. They do want people to run, walk, and cycle more, and support businesses to implement that with their staff. So I hope I've got a job to go back to. I'm positive I have, but it is quite an alarming time. You think, what if people kind of are the corona fear and they kind of cancel contracts with stuff, so, but fingers crossed. And if not, I'll be stacking shelves in the local supermarket or something. I'll do anything.
Okay. Well, I'll get you to do some presenting for With Me Now, if that's all right then.
Well, I'll do it for love, but not the money, obviously.
I'm about to say, same here. So I can pay you in feminine claps, if that's all right.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah.
So, Dean, I will let you go, because I want to make this as uncomfortable for you as possible whilst you're here. So of course we gave you a moniker, we gave you a little name from the parkrun show. Do you remember what that was?
Yes. Brain fart.
Brain fart, because it keeps mucking around. Now, when Kerri posted up that she was going to be interviewed today, I noticed that, Dean, it's like you liked it. You liked the fact she's going to be on it. But next to your name was a pending invite to the Facebook page. You haven't accepted. Would you care to explain?
I switched out of Facebook.
No, Dean's not got a lot of time for podcasts in his life. He doesn't get the same enjoyment from them as me. Occasionally he'll hear me.
I listen to
I listen to it in the garden, and he'll be there, and he'll often be listening in, and then he'll say stuff like, "God, don't Danny go on a bit?"
Yeah, I do, Dean. So in that case, you can now go on and get out of here, so you can leave the screen. Thank you.
He doesn't really kind of get the kind of some of the in-jokes and the context, but I had to explain it to him.
No, I've been getting into the post box thing, and
Yeah, he is, to be fair. Yeah.
There you go. So that's the thing. I understand and appreciate the fact you won't get a lot of the nuanced jokes, hence the name brain fart. I understand we're dealing with different levels here, Dean. But if you like the postbox bingo stuff, you love the postbox bingo. What's the rarest one that you found? Have you found a cipherless one, a Victorian one, and an Edward VIII?
I've only just started looking
this morning. It's only just cottoned on this morning, and he was quite excited by it. So I'm going to send him out this afternoon to go find some.
Well, our running club are doing a scavenger hunt.
Yeah,
so
we've got a scavenger hunt.
That's sort of, we've got the postbox thing into it.
Yeah, so that's linked through to our Reading Road Runners scavenger hunt, Danny. Your postbox thing. It's one of the things.
Brilliant. Yeah, I mean, it's such a popular idea. I mean, we weren't the first one to come up with it. The postbox bingo was Nicola's.
Claim it. Just say you were.
In terms of getting people to notice the ciphers, then definitely seeing that ripple effect throughout people, definitely, and to a slightly wider audience. And of course, I'm following the hashtag as a column on TweetDeck now.
I think anything to get people more aware of their surroundings when they're out running is better, because more often, and we've noticed it in lockdown, is people are just, so tunnel vision, not really taking in the sights around them, but more people are taking time to stop, look around, notice the things, and other people in your area being more aware of your personal space. So it can only be a good thing to look up, put your head up and look around. Yeah, absolutely. I think if you're not making sure you're distant from other people, you're recognizing there are lots of green spaces around your local area and discovering these things in the past. Like I said, there's kind of a different awareness going on. We're looking at things in a very different fashion now, including stink pipes, because we talked about this in the podcast. We recorded it this morning with Nicola, and she's not into stink pipes. I've got my own stink pipe sat next to me.
Stink pipe bimbo. There you go. That was the title of the podcast last week.
You don't know what the hell we're talking about, Dean.
No, Nicola couldn't say stink pipe bingo. It's all to do with postbox bingo.
I'll explain to him after, don't worry.
Tell him later.
Catching up on EastEnders, I suppose.
You can jump in at any point of that. Turn up episode of EastEnders on. Oh, get out, you slag! I hate you. Angry. And that's basically ad infinitum every day for 40 years or something ridiculous. See how long it's been going on for, 35. And so we haven't talked about parkrun stuff. So we completely
I'll kick him out. I'll kick him out.
See ya.
He's making.
There might be a constant parkrun theme regarding this. So you and I are intrinsically linked, I think, regarding.
I know. I think we're like related in a different universe or something.
Absolutely. So, of course, I very much became aware of you with the parkrun show days. You started your parkrunning at Reading Parkrun in November 2011.
So 8.5 years ago, yeah.
Yeah. So about 2 months after the parkrun show started. So
when I got my first email, results email, I think you were appearing at the bottom. It said, "Oh, we've got a podcast." So it didn't take me long to binge listen to the back catalogue. I think it was like episode 23 or 22, and I used to walk to work a couple of days a week, so I used to caught up doing it that way. And I was hooked in with the kind of like touring around other park runs, and the idea I could start my own park run all came from the parkrun show, really.
And you were highly engaged.
Yeah,
you were highly engaged. Yeah,
making a couple of friends, and then all of a sudden the podcast brought that extra dynamic of parkrun to me, really. So you're to blame for a lot of this stuff we're going to talk about.
Yeah, good. So basically, I set you
back in those days. It was, yeah, obviously.
Well, yeah, and I set you on the path. I do apologise. So you can blame me for your current life scenario. Thanks.
Thank you for actually, because it hooked me into something to a place I didn't feel I belonged in sport. I'd been searching for many years for something, and I'd been members of a couple of gyms and never really saw it out. I'd been to various classes and felt stupid, the fat girl at the back kind of thing. Sorry.
Yeah.
But parkrun made me feel at home, and then the parkrun show sort of sealed that I actually belonged to a community, and the rest is history.
Yeah, reinforce the messages. Yeah, it's not about performance and everything. Absolutely. Although in the early few episodes, as you remember, it was basically me, Martin Yelling, and Tom Williams talking about fast park runs, and of course soon evolved and learnt the lesson and brought Nicola on, which of course expanded the empathy and the ability to relate.
It was the singing, actually. The Muppet Show singing that hooked me in. I was a big Muppet Show fan. I was like, oh, this is a bit different. A sports podcast that's kind of crosses different
themes. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yay, Kerri frog, yay!
It was a bit silly, and I like silly. I think it's good to be silly.
Yeah, and they just gave me the ability just to be ridiculous
and show off all your voices that you can do.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Kermit frog, hello there, everybody.
Oh God, it's like he said that to me.
Hello, Kerri French. How are you today? And sorry. Anyway, diverting off. But yeah, I'm surprised. I'm glad it didn't put you off all the singing. Anyway, so the regional event support ambassador. So you have gone from Reading Parkrun started. Woodley Parkrun came a little bit later. Now
I'm getting all the fluffy things.
All the fluffy
coming in from the garden, all the tree pollen and fluffy dandelion-y things.
If I do that, then I get the fluffy cat fur because Dolly's walking and it's really hot. And so then I was starting to do a little bit of activation of events. So of course, he spoke to Joe Sinton here last week, and I tried to help Joe out a little bit. Woodley was the first event activation.
I know. I was your first kind of parkrun birth, so to say, you know, when
Absolutely.
it was really going mental, and Joe and Paul were all over the place. You brought in, and I was keen to get Woodley going, and there you were, helping me out. And, what an experience.
It was. It expanded my knowledge. So of course, I was doing 1,001 different little things to help out here or there. And of course, there was the comms and the social media channels and doing all that and everything else. And then, of course, the event activation thing to expanded my horizons as to how things worked. And yeah, you were the person. So of course, the council wanted to have it happen because, of course, they had the green space, they had the money.
Yeah,
I think the council
really wanted to activate.
Yeah, really. They wanted it to happen. I came and measured the course. Joe and I went down, we measured out the little course, which is fundamentally the one you pretty much use to this day because there's only really one that you can get people in.
One slight tweak because the council put in some lovely flower beds, so we didn't want to tap on those. That's the only change we really had to make for that, really.
And that was 8 years ago, nearly 8 years. It's coming up 8th anniversary this year, isn't it?
Yes, there'll be 8 in October.
Yeah, and of course,
and we deliberately we started a week after Bushy's birthday because we wanted you to come and be at our first event. Well, firstly, because we were all a bit, like we weren't sure someone's here, guess goes wrong. So we will all, it's a really easy one to remember. It's always the week after Bushy's birthday.
Yep.
Second week.
Of course. And we did test events in an evening, which is interesting. And PSH came
Thursday night.
Yeah.
Thursday evening we had, and it was almost darkness, wasn't it, when the last finishers were finishing? So squeezed it in.
Yep, and PSH was the person who came over because we were doing showing you how to do the results processing, the slightly more laboured way of doing results processing as compared to now. And I remember Paul sitting down, and as you know, Paul's patience can be a bit rubbish.
I was really scared of him. I was really scared of Paul.
Yeah, because I don't blame you, because he can be a bit of a huffer. And huffer and a puffer. Now I've seen him.
And I told him that when I met him, and he was just he was so devastated. He said he was under a lot of pressure at the time to just keep, and he was wrung out with all the parkruns that were starting. There was a lot, and there was only a few people doing it. So yeah,
absolutely. It is. He was a huffer and a puffer, and he used to get very frustrated having to explain certain things. But like you say, you clarify that perfectly. He was under an immense amount of pressure regarding the sustainability, the future of parkrun, the amount of time you poured into it, the amount of hands that are trying to do so many different tasks. And of course, you notice that when he then, when Nick Pearson came on, and of course the staff developed and the financial future changed, you could see in himself his attitude.
The belief. He's like a cuddly uncle now. I've met a few times, lots of times really. So,
all the weight of the parkrun world that he bore on his shoulders was lifted. So of course you could see that in his disposition. But at the time, it was a bit, you can understandably be scary, because of course he was really tempering.
And now when I see him, he always makes me cry, because he just brings out something, and the way he story tells and the way he kind of articulates his life, what he's been through. I always end up in floods of tears talking to Paul. He always you always do this to us. Stop it. If ever you meet him and you get some time to talk with him,
I've never cried at him. He's never made.
I'm not sure I believe that.
I've probably made him cry on a few occasions.
You have.
Sorry. Anyway, so so there's a development. So Woodley then happened. So of course you were Reading, you were involved. You went to Woodley, and you were then basically event director.
For 4 years. First 4 years event director.
Yeah.
And the parkrun wheel kept churning and churning, and a plea was, put out to those who were EDs at the time, if we wanted to get involved, to help Paul, Joe, and Nita, yourself, to train other teams locally, to take that pressure off parkrun. So we didn't really know what that role was going to be called. We were kind of asked to go to a convention centre in Birmingham for the day, and we all did a parkrun first.
Cannon Hill,
And then Tom was up there, said, well, what are we going to call this? What are you guys? So then there was about 30 odd people in the room from all over the UK. And we decided that an ambassador was probably the right word, felt at the time, and it's pretty much stayed that way. So that's when 7 years ago, pretty much the day we met. And the 30 of us just helped HQ by taking on that role of training and mentoring local partners that were popping up in our area.
Yep, absolutely. And and to the day, I don't remember at the time, I said on the parkrun show, and I absolutely believe it. And true to this point, there are many points along the way, along the history of essential core points in the chronology of parkrun, but that is going to go down there and be steeped as one of the most important movements regarding the management, sustainability and development of parkruns. It was just impossible to activate new events without ambassadors being involved to be helping out localized, and that facilitated so much. Without that happening, that particular program, then I think parkrun would have massively struggled. So the essential element of all those ambassadors at the beginning and the ambassador program now, I think, is a very much a
it's a whole different thing now. I mean, back in that day, we was, like I say, 30 of us there with the 5 or 6 parkrun HQ people. And we even had our own freedom park run at 3 o'clock in the morning at one night. You didn't make up for that, though.
No, I didn't. I didn't get involved in that. I remember all the naughty people who were doing certain things. I heard about it the following day.
Whereas now, 7 years later, goodness me, there's maybe 300 people at the parkrun annual conference, and it's huge because the parkrun ambassador system has grown and regionalised. Country managers come from all over the world.
And may not happen this year by the looks of it. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
May have to be Zoom, giant Zoom, 300 little screens on your Zoom screen.
Yeah, definitely Zoom fatigue that day.
Yeah.
Well, oddly enough, the regional event support ambassadors are doing our first Zoom meeting this evening with Joe and Tom. So maybe we'll get an update about that. I should imagine we will.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Of course, Tuesday with the updates as to what's happening regarding the whole coronavirus thing. So you've then gone on to be an ambassador. Now, it's not just any common or garden ambassador. You've then gone on to be, as with any
hierarchy in the ambassador program. We've all just got different roles.
Yeah, hierarchy is a word that sort of, as the connotation says, it's about order, structure of power. Yeah. But it's outside of the power structure, ignoring that, the hierarchy, there has to be a particular tier system for it to be managed, for people to understand, okay, what the different roles envelop.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you are a regional event support ambassador. So you have the conventional ambassadors doing the localized things, but then you're a slight stage up, you're like the regional ambassador looking after the
my role changed as an ambassador. I used to help local events, train them, bring them to Woodley if they were local enough, or mentor them up with another local one. But more than often not, they came to Woodley and trained there. So now I train and mentor and sort of scout for local ambassadors to do that. So that used to take me, I used to cover Kent all the way down the bottom of London, right the way through to Oxford. But again, once I'd recruited 20 odd ambassadors to look after that area, we then broke up that area. So Donna Carr took Kent, Mark Brocklehurst took the Sussexes, put my teeth back in, and Dave Williams took Hampshire, Surrey. So that left me with Berkshire, Buckinghamshire and Oxfordshire, which is much more manageable. And we've all...
well, one thing, you haven't said that right. Can you do that again? What do you look after?
Berkshire, Buckinghamshire and Oxfordshire.
No, try again. No, try one more time.
BBO?
No. Which counties?
Berkshire, Buckinghamshire and Oxfordshire.
Berkshire. Honestly.
Berkshire.
Berkshire.
Buckinghamshire and Oxfordshire.
That's better, thank you.
Okay.
So yeah, and now you have that, but not just that. So of course you don't just have
a challenge.
You do this is why I can't ask you to come and do With Me Now stuff, because you're so busy doing a million and one other things. You're like Bev. You love to be keeping busy.
Busy is good. Yeah, I can't stand sitting around doing. I do sit on the sofa from about 9 o'clock onwards, but that's it. And it's only.
You and Bev share so many traits. It really is unbelievable. And then now, outreach ambassador for Offending and Rehabilitation, which of course basically is prison parkruns.
Yeah, there's a bit of a story about that as well. So my dad was a prison officer for 30 years, and he, I used to watch him come home from work and be really inspired by some of these stories and some of these, lads he worked with in a male prison, Birmingham, and then Reading Young Offenders. And it really broke him, that kind of career, by the time he came out of it. And he really went into it with the hope that he would just help one person change their lives. So when the opportunity came up to get involved with prison park runs, there was one starting in my region in Buckinghamshire, Spring Hill, which is Grenton, the category D prison that's next.
Yep, which I've been to. Yeah, like yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I was just like, yeah, I'm all over this, and I was just so motivated and passionate about believing in rehabilitation and the power of sport. So I did a bit of research and then started speaking to Rowan Ardill, and he was like, well, you'd be perfect to help volunteer ambassador for this role. So once Dave Lewis was the activating ambassador, he got Spring Hill up and running. And I've since then been involved in, again, because it's been growing, the Prison Parkrun project, it's all about volunteer-led, taking the strain off HQ. So myself and Ali McAllister help Rowan. So we pair up new parkrun prison events with the local ambassador, have that kind of dig-in conversation, why they're doing it, what's the motivation behind it, and then pair them up with their local ambassador, and then also just be there to answer questions and queries from afar if need be. Yeah, and I really get a lot of enjoyment out of that. And I've been into a couple of prisons now that are local to me, and just find it blows my mind when I go in and talking to the people that are service users, do I say, or inmates, whatever you want to call them.
Inmates, yeah.
And just talking to them like they're human beings that have just gone on a different path. And I really do hope that with the power of parkrun, they can make some changes to the people they hang around with, the lifestyle they go back to, and change for good. That parkrun has that power to intervene where maybe the system and their social life and the way they live has let them down.
Absolutely. That's an amazing story, fantastic story. And just to say, well, Rowan Ardill, of course, works for parkrun.
Yeah, so he heads up the health and he works for Chrissy Wellington on the health and wellbeing team. And one of his streams is prisons, along with other stuff that he does.
Yeah, it was I've forgotten the name of the bread people who did trying to get junior parkruns into deprived areas.
Warburtons,
that's it. So that's the one, absolutely. Yeah. So I've been working closely with him, and it's fantastic. It's been brilliant to see. And you said
we're a good little team, me, Ali, and Rowan.
Yeah. And because you were meant to go to, is there a little story where you're meant to have gone to one of the?
Yes.
Yeah, you know what I'm going to ask you. Go on, you tell it.
I know. So even I can have brain fart moments. I was supposed to be going to meet Rowan and Ali at the prison up by Lichfield Way, and I forget my barcode. Yeah,
passport, wasn't it?
Passport, yes.
Can prove who you were.
Yes, you have to go in and be, checked and stuff, and have some proof of ID. I forgot that, and I couldn't find it anywhere. And my daughter, who's just got up actually out of bed, who's just come in and sat here, was using my passport to play like offices or something upstairs in her room.
Ruby.
I know, that's where it was. Do you want to come in, Ruby, and say hello? No, she's good. Okay.
Ruby, how do you spell off?
How do I spell off?
Yeah.
OFF.
Well done. So why couldn't you do that yesterday? For context, basically, she posted a video that was mocking you, wasn't she, yesterday, Kerri? And she didn't spell off correctly.
Pretending to be me. She had the headband and everything. Did you see?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Well, anyway, go back to school. As soon as you go back to school, Ruby, the best. Then you can learn how to spell words.
I know. Absolutely.
Sorry. Yes.
So I forgot my passport to go to the prison event, and I ended up Googling oh no, well, I've got my barcode, so I can go to another one. So I found an event, didn't even look at what event number it was at.
No, because when you turned up I love this story, yeah.
I turned up at an inaugural, oh dear, and it was huge as well, because the local press had got wind of it and innocently, because they love the concept, to put it in their newspaper. And I think it's like 600 or 700 people turned up.
600 people plus 620 or something like that.
Yeah. And but I did meet and bump into Stacey Marston, which was a bonus. So I was like, I've always wanted to speak to you. So I had a moment where I lost something and had to go to an inaugural. But
Stacey Marston being an inaugural, that's missing. Brownie points lost. Thank you very much, Stacey Marston. But I love that. You forgot your passport, couldn't go to prison, and then you went to an inaugural because it's the newest one. It was a massive.
But I tell you what, I think I did Rowan and Ali a favour, because it meant that there was no cafe for them to go to. They came back to the cafe we were at, and we met up with lots of ambassadors that then met at this point, and they were able to talk about some local prison issues and some activation. So it actually became a bit of a meeting. So it was really handy.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay, well, viewers, just remember, if Kerri ever says like don't turn up at an inaugural, just remind her of that one instance. Yeah, it was by accident, but there you go. These things happen. Just say I turn up by accident. Brilliant. So moving on very quickly, because I recognise it's half an hour, and I don't want to keep you too much. I realise that Dean wants to get on the internet and play video games, and I don't want to keep him off there for too long. But parkrun stats wise, just going to the stats: 196 parkruns, 70 at Woodley.
I had to look this up as well yesterday. I knew I was over 190, but I didn't have a clue what I was on.
On your way. How many different parkruns? Did you take that down?
Yeah, I looked up 79.
Yep, 79 different, absolutely. A couple of those, of course, being Spring Hill and Felton, which of course is one of the other ones you've done, prison-wise, which again, I've been to both of those. So of course we have that interest there as well. What's your V index? Volunteer index, if you know what the V index is.
Is that the one, how many rolls have you done?
Yeah, and then the same amount of time. So if you've done one roll one time, two rolls two times, three rolls three times, and so on.
Now, there's some I've only done once because you wouldn't let me loose on it ever. I did photography once. Don't even bother. So maybe it's just one.
Okay. No, it's 11. V index of 11. Countries wise, so you are 4. So it's UK, Poland, Italy, Ireland. So you've been abroad to do touring. Volunteer tasks. How many have you done task wise, and how many different occasions have you done?
Again, I had to look this up because I wasn't sure, and you had to correct me because I've done.
Everyone's forearming themselves now. You see, everyone's cottoning on.
Oh yes, got to do our homework. We'll get told off by Danny, and that's a pain you don't want to go through. 208 volunteering missions. Yeah. And 250 tasks. So I've doubled up a couple of times. I'm multitasked.
And days and weeks, in terms of, like with many ambassadors, the amount of extracurricular hours aren't accounted for over the years as well. So that's the biggest thing. The one thing
in the early days, when I was recruiting all the ambassadors for the region, I was probably spending more time doing my stuff apart than I was in my job, to be fair.
Well, that's the highlight of the numbers.
Madness, yeah.
Well, the numbers don't really necessarily mean anything. You can fiddle the numbers. Certain people will fiddle numbers. They'll end up going like, okay, well, I ran and I also did pre-event setup. Okay, it's fine. Each to their own. But when it comes to going, oh, look, you've done 208 times, but that does not account for the... Well,
there are times I've volunteered and not had a credit for, but we won't go there.
You've done that too. Absolutely. Many people. But I say there's genuinely the amount of time that you put in as an ambassador that isn't simply accounted for and only appreciated by those who...
Do it for the love, don't do it for the numbers.
Absolutely, and it's across the board for many of the ambassadors as well. So that's one thing. That's why it's not because we don't want to end up being don't virtue signal. It's not about the morality. It's about the fact that the statistics don't show the entire story, and that's the most important thing. Is
don't drive for me anyway. The money, I was to say, but money doesn't get me going. The numbers don't get me going. It's it's doing it, the act itself.
Well, it's a profound effect, and like you say, in the story of your father as well, like you say, it's the impact, it's the emotional impact as well, and the investment that you've put into your life, and how it has developed and changed your life just drastically and enormously over the past 8 years, and very much will do the same going forward over the next 16 years as well. And Woodley Juniors, not only that, but also you volunteer Woodley Juniors on occasion. So, I mean, you, like I say, just so involved, and it's part of your life. So that's fantastic. Right then. It's been a brilliant chat, but I'm not going to say goodbye just yet because, of course, as you have well prepared yourself, we do Pictionary. Parkrun Pictionary. Yeah. You sound less enthused. Do you happen to have a pen and paper there?
Yeah, I knew this was coming.
Whilst you do that, have you got something in mind to draw?
Well, I looked at where I've been for inspiration.
Okay, so could you do that? And whilst you do that, and let us know when you're ready, I'm just going to have a quick look through the comments because I recognise that I've sort of not been paying attention to the comments and see what people are saying. I think people are starting to recognise that we're busy chatting so much that we don't see what's going on comments-wise. Oh, look, Beverly Gown, my V index is higher than Danny's. It's not a competition, honest. That's because you fiddled all the numbers. And people are talking about the duvet behind me. Can you see that? Yes, the duvet on the door behind that Bev's sister has made. So anybody conversing outside of Bev? Let's have a look. Callum Barrell, chatting to Karen Spackman. Lots of Perry Halls going in. My ambassador boss, Emma Shaw, says Rachel Gould. Emma, Kerri is what I would call my ambassador boss, says Emma Shaw.
I'm certainly assertive, as I like to call myself.
Amanda Murray Hind made it out for a lunchtime leg stretch to see if I can catch a workday life and have gotten the spinny wheel of doom. Yay, I can hear you few, she says. Thank you for letting us know, Amanda Murray Hind. Zahir Mahmood, Danny does the best ever Bevolum or Gulibi, but as you quite rightly said, Danny, you're not a performing monkey, so I won't ask you to do these again. No, I'm not going to do that. But I can do a Krumi defrag.
Your Gollum actually scares me.
I'm not.
No, keep to the permit. Keep to
I'm not going to do it. Krumi defrag.
When I hear that Gollum, sometimes it does make me just
creeped out.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. And Kermit.
That's much nicer. I like Kermit.
That's much kinder.
Be more Kermit.
Be more Kermit. Elizabeth Shazam, in our area, there's a proliferation of paintings.
Oh, my dots are making my laptop shake. Can you see that?
They are. I'm not. I'm looking at the comments. I've not been paying attention. Sorry, are you rattling your laptop? Okay.
No, I'm doing some dots, so I'll do it on my leg so I'm not shaking the laptop. There you go.
Okay. Lots of mentions of Perry Hall, as requested.
I've been to Perry Hall, and I ran the course slightly hungover.
Okay.
Sorry. I don't actually remember much about it. So I was listening to Emma Hawkey's interview yesterday, and she's convinced she never met me. Now, I'm sure I said hello to her at Perry Hall, and I'm sure I said hello to her at the Ambassador Conference. So
I don't trust Emma. I think I definitely will have met. Definitely will have met Emma. Yeah.
So I just think when you meet me, how can she forget me?
Absolutely. I think that Emma's, well, we know what Emma's like regarding remembering certain.
Oh, I'm just pulling her leg, really.
Sure. we love her. We're only joking as well.
People at these things, and I'm sure I'm very unforgettable.
No, you're not at all. But in a good, but genuinely blowing smoke, but you're in a fantastically bubbly and good way. Callum Burrell, as long as the power out is not right after the parkrun restart, the Burrells would love to be there. I'm sorry, Callum. Which case, no, we're going to oblige Callum. Sorry, everybody, we can't do the powwow at a time outside of Callum's. Callum, if it happens right after the restart, sorry, mate, you're either there or you're not.
I'm excited about it being at Perry Hall because I can go back and I'll be able to see the course in a whole new light. I'm hungover. Sorry, carry on, Danny.
Yes, so yes. But yeah, it happens when it happens. Again, as you know, it's like we have to set a date. If you can be there, you can be there. If you can't, you can't. So have you done? And also, I got this wrong yesterday, but in and around there, if you're not already subscribed, like, share, please reshare and retweet and let people know about these interviews. Much appreciated. Help us grow our channel. The bigger the channel gets and grows, the more we can do of these and can continue and sustain. Thank you. Come on then, show us your Pictionary.
Right, so, okay, are you ready?
Go on. Hair tree, hair forest, curl for. All right, okay. So it's hair curly trees. Let's have a look. Emma says there are a few faces at the conference. Well, there was lots, isn't there? There are so many people. Sam Wally says there definitely needs to be more mentions of Woodley on this chat. Woodley, there.
Yeah, Woodley.
Right. So anybody getting what Kerri's said? Oh, okay. Rachel Bentley, I absolutely loved meeting Kerri at Feltham. Such a passionate, bubbly person.
Oh, likewise. She's a little rare sunshine, is Rachel Bentley.
Absolutely. Is that hair? Is that you're pointing to the hair? Yeah, but it's Mohican. Yeah. Mo hair, Mo forest, Mohair forest, Harewood, Punk forest.
No.
These are people are guessing now. Mohican trees. Is it Perry Hall? Hatfield.
Do you know what? I was almost going to do Perry Hall, but then you did it yesterday, and I was like,
yeah, we did. Spoiled it. Right. What does that say?
Where's it pointing to? Oops, I've got to do that. What's this pointing to? Which bit of
the head? The shave.
Yeah, you're getting warmer. You're getting warmer.
Shaven wood.
Ooh.
No, I know. Yes, sorry. Yeah, I've got it. I know what it is. I know where that is. The Burrells missed the last powwow.
I've been there, and I ran around with Rosemary Eggbay. And I went there for the Kent Roadrunner Marathon. I was spectating. So there's a clue. It's near.
I know what it is.
So,
Callum Burrell's still going on. The Burrells missed the last powwow due to RD commitments. Such is life, Callum, I'm afraid. Such is life. Sometimes you can't always get to be at the right place at the right time.
It's quite popular at the moment, what people are doing.
Yeah, no, I'm going to say, if no one guesses it in the next couple of minutes. Well, not next couple of minutes. There we go. Sorry. Next 10 seconds. Sean Woods, Anthony Howe, Callum Burrell.
Yay!
Sean Woods.
Oh, no.
Or Shaun the Sheep. Could have done Shaun the Sheep as well. There's so many different things.
Yeah,
we got it there in the end. See, right. Thank you very much. I've kept you for more than long enough. Thank you for spending time with us. I think
it's pleasure. And hello
It's
to all
been
the
a
Woodley
pleasure.
now peeps. Hope you're all going up well in this lockdown, not missing each other too much.
Oh no, I mean, yeah, some people are coping better than others.
Our child mortified. Look, oh, mortified.
Hi, Ruby. So go and learn your spelling. Get a dictionary out. Right. Tomorrow we have Dr. David Irwin joining us.
Oh, I love Dr. David.
Dr. David is in the house with us tomorrow, so that should be fun. Right. Take care. All the very best. Thank you for spending your lunchtime with us. And of course, are you learning the Zoom faces?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you ready then? I'm going to hit end now. Bye.